Hello and welcome back in another sheet metal workshop video. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a 90-degree elbow, just like this one. And it's got a radius, it's got a diameter, and it's got segments. So everything will be explained during the video. Have a seat and enjoy. Okay, well, let's get started. Now, before we start, we have to know some information. And well, that information, if you have measured or you get some information about the pipe we're working in with, there's an DN list that will appear now in the screen. So you can see now the DN list. There are all sizes in inches in DN. You can see the radius, and you can see also the real pipe dimension in millimeters. So I have decided for a DN, for the DN80, so I'm gonna write it down, DN80. It's got a pipe dimension of 89 millimeter. It's a 3-inch pipe, and it's got a radius of 114 millimeter. And okay, well, that's all the information we have. And the pipe I'm going to insulate, it's got also, well, that's something random. I'm just going to take 50 millimeter insulation. That means I'm going to round off some sizes. So if I have an 89 millimeter pipe, I'm going to round it off on 90 millimeter. And if my radius is 114, I'm going to round it off. My radius is going to be 120 radius. And the pipe insulation is 50 millimeter, so that means plus 100. We have a diameter of 190 with a radius of 120, and it's going to be a 3-part band. So that is the information I have. So I'm just going to show again the list in the screen. You can make a screenshot of that list. So if you don't have any idea or any clue how to get those radius or dimensions, it's a standard list. Of course, there are also other pipes with other radius, but that's something you have to figure out by yourself. Once you have learned how to make a segment bend, then after it's also easier to take sizes and find out the radius you need. Okay, now let's get started. Now first what we do is make here a working line. And now so we said we have here 190 diameter, we have a radius of 120. That means we go from the side, from the 0 point here, 120 millimeter. And diameter 190, that means 95 is half. So now we're going to make here a half circle. So I'm going to check it here. So we have here exactly 190 diameter. Now we're going to pull up here in the middle line up. We're gonna divide this part in two. And now you're gonna divide here this part in 3 equal parts, or in six equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts divided with a bow divider. And for the next thing, now we're gonna need an angle, because the band is 90 degrees and we have a 3-part band. That means we need an angle of 30 degrees. Now, if you have a degree ruler, that means a degree ruler, then it's easy, because you just put it here on 30 degrees. And there's 30 degrees. This is my 0 point here. Then I put here my 0 point, and then you can just pull a line. For example, that is my angle, but we're not finished, so we're gonna do it the way I've learned it in school. So you just take a radius. You can take this one, doesn't matter which one you take, because it doesn't affect the angle. So I'm just gonna take a radius, well, say from here. You can also take the radius from here, or a smaller radius. I just don't want to take it from here, so those lines do not cross each other, so you have a better look on what I'm doing. Now, if I divide this one, you see here, this one should exactly cross the line. See, it exactly fits. So this is exactly a 3-part. And if I divide this one here, and it's the same dividing system as here, only now I'm dividing a quarter. That means this angle is 30 degrees, plus 30 is 60 degrees, plus 30 we have 90 degrees. So that means if you have more segments, you just divide this in the part segments you need. You can also take the circumference and divide the circumference in the parts you want, and then measure it up with a ruler like this, and then take that size. So if you have 5 parts, 6 parts, you just take the circumference size and make that line. Now once you have divided, like I have, in 3 parts, I need now a half segment. That means I'm going to divide this one again. So that means if you have 3-part segments, I'm going to divide it in 3 parts, and then I'm going to divide it again in half. And that's the way I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to go in on this point, and I'm just going to pull up here in a line, and here also from my working line 1. So now I have here my point. That means I'm gonna pull a line from the 0 point here where it all started through this point. So and now we have the exact angle we need for our model we make, the template we make, yeah. So next thing what we're going to do is we're gonna pull up those lines. So this here one, going to pull up, and the next one So these are now my points. So I'm gonna number it. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, and number 7. So these are my points here. Now, what we also are going to give here under, so this is here, this distance is here 20 millimeter, and I'm going to give swage allowance 5 millimeter. That means I give here 15. And now I have here down on the line so these are exactly my points, including the swage allowance. The swage allowance doesn't affect the angle. So if you forget the swage allowance to give, or you give a little bit less or more, it won't affect the angle, it will just affect the radius. So the radius is getting or a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. That's everything. Now this is now done for now. I hope you have understand everything. If not, you can always ask me in the comments. So the next thing is what we're going to do is we have a diameter of 190 that makes a circumference of 597 millimeter plus 30 millimeter overlap. That makes 627 millimeter. I need a metal of 627 millimeter. Now I have here already prepared a metal, and so I'm going to check this here out. See, and put it here exactly on the metal where it is, and here you see we have here, wait. So we put here this exactly on the size, and here we come to 627 millimeter. See? Okay. Now what we do is we go left and right, 15 millimeter. And here also 15. And well, I have here, you see, so the outside, the biggest size from the outside is, well, it's almost 65. So that means I need a maximum wide metal of 130, 140. So this is bigger. I have here 180. Yeah, so you can always check here the biggest size, how big your metal should be. So 180 I have. So I'm gonna put in here the middle line. That's the middle line. Now, of course, I can make here this line a little bit more visible. And we're going to divide it in 12 equal parts. So I'm going to make this also a little bit more visible. Yeah, that's the thing. If you work with real sheet metal, it's always a little bit hard to make everything looks visible because of the light and everything. So now, as always, we're going to use this method to divide. So I'm just gonna hold my measure tool here, 650 I have here in diagonal, and a half of 650 is 325. Wait a minute. But you can also put normal diagonals. Put just a diagonal, also a method here. If this smaller, see? Exactly the middle. So, this is exactly the middle. Yeah. Check this out. So here it touches and it touches here. See, it's exactly the middle. Okay, now next thing is we're going to divide these parts exactly in 12 equal parts. So putting this here on the line, see here, the nil on the line, and I'm going to find something I can divide exactly in 6. So 6, 30 maybe, no 30, yeah, okay, 30, yeah, 300 millimeter. Exactly in 6 parts. So we have here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and we do the same thing on the other side. And there's always a number you can divide in equal parts. 5, 10. So once we did that, again follow those lines. Now once we have everything ready, the next thing is we're going to number it. So well, this is the bag, and this is the biggest size, and that's the smaller size. So when you look here at the band, we have here the bigger size and we have here the smaller size, and exactly in the middle where the seam is, that is number 4. So we start with the seam number 4, and then we go backwards, number 3, 2, 1, and then number 2, 3, and you see number 4 is in the middle, and then we go number 5, number 6, number 7, that's the biggest one, and then we go back number 6, 5, and number 4. So now we just, what we have is left is to drag over those points. So number 1, here's number 1. Number 2. No. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5. Six. And the last one, number 7. I mean, normally I do not do that with an edding. It's always better to use this one. Scratch needle, you have exactly better sizes, but this is for the video, I use this one. So now what we're going to do is we're just gonna connect those lines. So number 3, 4 and 5 should be always be in one straight line. Then we go from number 5, 4 and 5, also straight line. Now we're gonna make this rounding form. You can take a metal, put it in a, just like this here I put, and then pull up the line. But I have also something like this. You see, it's a rubber with something like a metal in it, and it's a good thing for things like this. So I'm just gonna put it here on number 1, number 2, and number 3. See? Right, I'm just gonna hit it once. Okay, now we have a straight line, and now number 3, 2, see? So now it's already in form. Okay, well, that's it. So the next thing, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark here the holes. So just gonna mark here the holes. take my hole puncher. And I'm also gonna punch the middle one. So once you punch out the middle one, you can also here cut this out. Okay, now I'm gonna just cut out my segment, and I'm gonna cut out segment by hand, because it's always better to cut out by hand with your snips. So I'm gonna speed up this part in the video. Okay, well, once you have cut out the segment, your template is done. So the only thing what is missing is the information on it. So always, if you finish a template, always write down immediately the information. So we have here a diameter of 190, and we have a radius of 120, and it's a 3-part segment. 3T, Dreiteile, so that's how we call it in German. So that's it. Now we're going to make the band. So you can always check here, this is a half, those two segments are actually almost like a half segment. And this is half segments, but check out after if you cut it out if there is any difference between. See, it's cut actually good. So now I'm gonna make here the band. So now I have here, you see it's already cut on the exact size. So I want to have a starting segment. So if this is my band, so I'm gonna make it with an angle. This is my band, so normally it's round, but this is my band, and I want to have a size here of say 200, and here I want to have a size of 180. That means if the radius is 120, that means its radius 120, 200 minus 120 is 80. So that means I give 8 plus 80, radius plus 80. Same thing here, I have here 180 minus 120, so 60 is over. That means end segment is radius plus 60. That is what we're going to do. So radius 120, starting segment is 200. So we're going to do plus 80. That means 80 millimeters. And if you give a swage, so if this segment is connecting another pipe, of course you have to give also a little bit 5 millimeters swage allowance you have to give. But I'm not gonna give here any swages. So, and now here That is why we have cut out here this middle part line. We're going to put exactly here this on the middle line. Same thing on the other side also. So now we have it exactly in the position, and now I'm just gonna draw here my segment. I'm going here just to drag over those holes. And now you just put it here on this line, and if you have cut it out good, see, it's almost equal. Drag over the holes. And the last one. Now the last one is just put it on the line here, and we're going to only mark the holes. And here, this line, we're just going to make here a marking. Same thing on the other side here also. Just make the hole and we mark it. So that is the starting segment, and that's the end segment. We said end segment is plus 60, so I'm going to give here 60 millimeter plus, and here also on the other side also plus 60. And now you can connect this one. We don't have to, but should be just for the picture. So this is now my band. Don't forget the holes. So now, almost done. Gonna punch out now the holes in it. Now, next thing is I'm gonna cut this here out on the galantine. And now, of course, I'm going to use here the electric shears to cut out. Okay, well, because it's a standing band, so the band goes from left to the right, means this is here the starting segment, the one with 200, So normally I say here comes a swage. The X is for a female swage, and I said here, okay, 200 length. Then the middle part comes also with a female swage, a male swage. These signs we use here in Germany, but you can also find them on a PlayStation controller. Okay, now here we have a swage, female swage, male swage, and now the end part comes also male swage, and we said the end part should be 180. So if you have more bands to do in some kind of a serial, I think it's always good to write down exactly the sizes. Now, next thing is what we need to do is we're gonna swage it, round it, and put this thing together. So I have here swage wheels number 1. I can also use smaller or maybe a little bit bigger, but the number 1 for diameter 190, I think it's a good size. So now we're going to round it. Here. Here one. Here are these things. See? Just put them here in, and you don't need screws. It's really quick. Okay, for the starting segment, so the first time here goes against the plate, and now I'm gonna hold it straight here. So this is here in a straight line. See, I have here a lot of air under. So by the next round, I'm gonna push it down. That's the female swage, and here also again doing the same thing. Male swage. So I'm gonna give the male swage a little bit more, only a little bit. And if you come by the seam, it's always good to pull it a little bit up, so that this one here really close very good. And the last one gets only a male swage. Okay, that was the swaging part. And now let's put this thing together. Now if you did it right, you should always see like something like a half hole. We call it the half hole. Now, that's the one, the half hole. Next one. Can catch the hole. Okay, now a little bit here. Because if you're going to fit the band, it shouldn't fall out. It must be really good. And the last one. Okay, well, that's the band. And now the biggest question we're going to check out. Well, it is, as you can see, 90 degree, a little bit. Okay. 90 degree. I hope I have hold the angle well. Sometimes you have a little bit of form, so it gets really well. Maybe from here, see it better. You can also look inside. Okay. Well, that was the 90 degree segment bend in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching and have learned something. I have tried to explain it as good as I can. So guys, have a good time and see you in the next video, man. See ya.